Grand Rising. Welcome back to JsGrassFedGarden. It's November 5th and it's about like 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. and it is 62 degrees Fahrenheit in southern Vermont. And I've documented some 70-degree days in November the past 2 years. So at this point it's just becoming more of a frequent thing. But I think it's safe to say that many years ago it probably wasn't 62 degrees Fahrenheit before the sun came up in November. And I very well could be wrong because I didn't live through the past, but that's what's going on today. So one love, and let's get into big fall renovations. There we go. So what's going on here is I put up a new fence because the deer were getting in my smaller one-line fence. It was about as low as that one. I had one, and it did good for the whole summer keeping the deer out. But a woman told me that squash and pumpkin plants deter deer. So when their feet hit it in the middle of the night, they can't see it, and it like ruffles on their feet. They get scared by it, so they run away. And I had a lot of squash and pumpkin plants. Right when I cut them out, the deer just started coming in more and more. And then once they realized they could just like hop over the little line, but usually same thing with the one line. Their feet touch it in the middle of the night, they can't really see it, and it spooks them. But then they just started hopping over it. And I know they could very well hop over this fence too, or probably just go right through it. But the idea is that they'll come and it'll hit them in the face or something, or hit them in the body. They'll get spooked and just run away. So new fence, upgrades, and kind of like an electric fence. I don't know if you've ever seen one, but I just did two little loopholes and just made a knot on the other end, so I can open and close the fence when I come here to do my thing, do some work at the garden, and sometimes I need to bring a wheelbarrow in with some mulch. So yeah, working on the functionalities of the garden more. I removed 1, 2, 3 mounds, and then I brought in 6 wheelbarrows of mulch for the remaining 6 mounds. So that's 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm gonna plant these to some hardneck and softneck garlic. Right now 3 of them have a sumac tree start in them that I harvested from a trail that I walk on. There was just a whole bunch of little saplings, and then 2 of them have an elderberry. One of them has a currant in it, and then this one has a sumac as well. And I'm gonna add this golden raspberry that I had propagated down at my homestead. So gonna do these little like mound guilds where it's like a perennial crop, maybe some perennials and some annuals all mixed together, and just with the amount of grass that I piled on top of the soil mound over the season, and now the nice mound of wood chips, let that set over the winter time, they're going to be very fertile by the spring, and I think going to get some good production out of them. So I extended the garden a little bit, putting in some where the leaves are, the pathways, where the grass is, the new garden beds. And this is like a really cool technique. if you're thinking about starting a garden, now's the time. For next year, now would be a good time to set it up. So what's going on here is literally grass piled on top of grass. See, so if you just look down, that's just straight grass. And I've explained this, but I feel called to go over it again. So that's grass to go on top of grass. Then in about 6 months, you pull that grass back and the living grass underneath will be dead, and then it'll be soil. And you could either plant directly into that soil, or what I did last year was I had a little compost pile way back over yonder next to that little pine tree, and then I peeled back the grass, filled it, and made an actual little raised bed, then planted directly into that. That's how this bed right here was made last year for potatoes. So the garden started here in 2021, here in 2022, and now for 2023 it's here. So I've slowly added a bed each year, expanding my growing space but not taking up too much space of the yard. So that's what's going on. And then same thing, I think it's cool to show it from this side too, right where the hoops are. So 2021, 2022, 2023. So I'm excited for these new bed productions. They're gonna rock. New little pathway with the logs, and I'm thinking about drilling holes in each one of these logs, and then from Fedco you can get some mushroom plugs. So do some chicken of the woods with some lion's mane, blue oyster mushrooms all the way down this row here. I think that might be something cool to try. There's garlic interplanted with these oats. We got some baby tot soy still kicking, some arugula, some mizuna. We had some really hot weather the past few days, so they started even going to seed. And then there's some planted late, kind of got shaded out, but there's even some mosh in here, which is said to be really cold hardy and will just keep growing no matter what. And we'll see how cold hardy all of this stuff really is as we start to get into our colder temps. The coldest temp we've had so far is 31. It's supposed to get down to 29 coming up. We got some bok choy mixed with some tot soy in here. Still doing good with some leaves. I just got the second low tunnel up yesterday, so there's gonna be some green garlic, carrots. We got some lettuce and turnips in there. And then I just planted some seed that it'll germinate, but we're past the 10-hour daylight, or we're just right at the 10-hour daylight mark. So they will germinate, but they will stay in there until it goes above the 10-hour daylight again in February, and then we'll have some nice fresh greens, fresh seedlings for the early winter months. Now this, if you go back to some previous videos, you could see my whole build up to this. I had it with no cover, so you could kind of see what it was looking like 3 weeks ago. I made a video when I put the cover on, and now here's 3 weeks later. I haven't opened this until today, and I'm very amazed by what is going on in there, because we've definitely had some really cold temps. So dun, 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 dun. Woo! November. That's red giant mustard greens. We got some regular mustard greens. It's a green wave mustard greens. Some mizuna, more mizuna Asian greens back there going to seed, but that's okay. And we got a little slug problem, but that's okay. I mean, I haven't opened this in 3 weeks, and they haven't eaten all the leaves yet, so that's good. I was picking them off before I started the video. but when we get down to 29, they might die. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So the idea is I'm gonna harvest all of this and make some bonbon pestos for the coming months. And since they have established root systems, they will regrow come February, given that it doesn't get too cold or this doesn't cave in from the snow. And then on the back end there is a lettuce in a younger stage. Let's see if I could zoom through. See, I have the wood chips on this side because I don't plan on opening this side up for a while. Nah, you can't see through, but I could see through with my eyes when I get up really close. But there's some nice lettuce, kind of looking like this, a little bit younger, but in there. So this is really cool. You know, I mean, here we are at the beginning of November, and just look at these lush greens. I mean, the lighting for the daytime is, there we go. Lush greens. Yeah, so I'm just gonna let this be open for a little bit since it's already 62. It's gonna get up to like 70 today. And I'll come close it at nighttime. And then what else is still rocking here? We got the wild arugula that got hit by some frost, but that's okay. It's said to be hardier than regular arugula, and this will perennialize now, so I'll just have a arugula patch. This is a different variety of arugula, still doing its thing. My bad about the focusing. It's taking some time. There's some mint over there, some oat cover crop, some garlic interplanted with that, some more oat cover crop, some more arugula. I just planted a whole bunch of flowers that need to be cold stratified over there. We've got 2 different kinds of poppies, some northeast pollinator mixes. We have elderberry cuttings all up and down these rows right here.